$176 billion of investors' assets are about to be thrown into disarray. As one of the greatest investors of all time, who earned more than 5 times the return of the S&P 500, is retiring. So whether you owned it and need a replacement, or you just want to see me break down my top US growth funds, you've come to the right place, because that's what we'll be doing today. We did a much more in-depth overview of Will Danoff and Fidelity Contrafund in this video, so we won't be covering it in depth again in this one. But the main message I'll share with you for the purpose of this video is that I don't have a ton of confidence in the 2 portfolio managers who are taking over for Danoff, so if I owned this fund, I would be looking for a replacement. Since investing is very personal and everyone has different objectives and priorities, I'll be breaking down the top growth funds in 5 different categories. First, the top broad US equity fund for those that simply just want their money to grow and don't really want their fund to focus too much on a narrow group of growth-style companies. Number 2, the top concentrated US growth fund for those who do want to focus on the narrow group of high-growth companies. Number 3, the top star manager, i.e. the one managed by the person who I think is most likely to be the next Will Danoff. Number 4, top passive US growth fund for those who really don't care about much else other than being cheap. And number 5, the top active US growth ETF that isn't reliant on a single manager for those that don't want to have to look for a replacement every time a star manager leaves or retires, like Fidelity Contrafund investors are today. Let's start with broad US equity. Will Danoff and Fidelity Contrafund certainly have plenty of concentrated exposure to the growth-oriented Mag 7. All but Tesla are in its top 10 holdings, and over a fifth of the portfolio is in Meta and Nvidia alone. That's as of November 30th, 2025. Yet, you can see from its style box that it's actually not nearly as purely growth-oriented as its typical large growth peer right now. So Contrafund might fall somewhere in between this fund we're about to cover first and the more pure growth style ones we'll cover in the rest of the video. For the top broad US equity fund, the winner is Vanguard Prime Cap. In my opinion, you could make a strong case that Vanguard Prime Cap is literally the best US equity fund ever created. In all rolling 10-year periods since its inception in 1984, it's beaten VU more than 97% of the time by an average of more than 2.5% per year. That's a lot. How much to be exact? Well, in just under 40 years, it's beaten VU by more than 12,000% cumulatively. That is the power of compounding. That means that on a $10,000 investment, you would have made over $1.2 million more profit, a difference in return of more than 100 times your initial investment. It's actually been basically even with Fidelity Contrafund since Will Danoff took over. This is where real fund analysis comes in. Anyone can look at past results, but by themselves, they really don't tell you much. I evaluate funds in a 3-step process. How did they do? How did they do it? And can they do it again? How did they do? Amazing. We just covered that. How did they do it? Well, in a shorter time frame, I'd be looking at its holdings and strategy for that answer. Is it just really aggressive and the market has been up a lot? Is it just a tech-heavy NASDAQ ETF and tech has been doing really well? Those kind of things are not repeatable in the long run because they only work out when the market environment is in their favor and the market environment is always changing. But when you have a 40-year track record of doing it consistently, that covers many different market environments. So the answer lies in their process. What are they doing differently from other active managers that has made them so much more successful? Here's where it gets interesting. Vanguard Prime Cap is actually not managed by Vanguard. It's managed by Prime Cap. Prime Cap was founded in 1983 by 3 portfolio managers from Capital Group, which is another company that has a long history of consistently beating index funds with its American funds lineup. This is a book about them written by Charlie Ellis, who is a director at Vanguard. Legend has it that John Bogle, the founder of Vanguard, approached PrimeCap to manage a fund for them because PrimeCap met his, quote, 4 Ps: people, philosophy, portfolio, and performance. So if you don't believe me that some active managers can beat the index, taken from 2 of the most influential people in the history of Vanguard. It's probably not a coincidence that the company that Charlie Ellis wrote a book about and the company that John Bogle hired to manage an actively managed fund for Vanguard both use pretty much the same very unique investment process, which to my knowledge, no one else in the industry uses. The fact that the same unique approach that works so well at Capital Group has worked just as well, if not better, at PrimeCap is a very strong sign that it's the process that makes the difference, not the people or the market environment. The most unique feature of this process is the multi-manager system. It's not the simple presence of multiple portfolio managers that's become common these days. What's different is that each of the portfolio managers manages their own sleeve of the portfolio independently. That allows them to run concentrated portfolios based only on their highest conviction ideas and only in the way they feel will make them the most successful. Each individual portfolio might not be diversified, but when you put together multiple people who all think differently, you avoid groupthink and end up with an overall portfolio that is diversified, but without investing in anyone's 100th best idea. You can also see here that 2 of the 5 portfolio managers have been on the portfolio for over 35 years. 4 of the 5 have been there more than 19 years, and all of them have been there at least 9 years. Splitting the portfolio up between multiple people helps lead to better consistency because when one person retires, it's only the management of maybe 15 or 20% of the portfolio that's changing, not 100%. On rare occasions, there have been funds with amazing star managers that have produced great long-term track records, but when they've retired, you never really been able to tell what you were going to get. A famous one was Fidelity Magellan. Peter Lynch managed the fund from 1977 to 1990 and absolutely smashed the S&P 500. But then he retired and the magic was gone. That's the risk Fidelity Contrafund investors face right now because its legendary portfolio manager, Will Danoff, is about to retire. They also often avoid or at least limit exposure to a lot of the largest, most popular companies, which are the ones that will be held most in a fund like VU or the growth funds we'll cover throughout the rest of this video. And where they do hold positions in Mag 7 companies, look how long they've owned them. They identified them early rather than jumping on the bandwagon after they were already up massively. That is a sign of a great investor. Add in very low expenses along with high manager ownership, which we saw earlier, and I think all the ingredients are there for them to be able to continue putting up long-term index-beating returns. If I could own just one US equity fund, this would be it. But for many reasons, maybe because it's active, or because it's a mutual fund, or because it's not purely growth-oriented, this might not be the right fund for you. So let's move on to our next category, the top concentrated US growth fund, for those who do want to focus on the narrow group of high growth companies. And the winner in this category is Fidelity Blue Chip Growth Fund. This fund has absolutely dominated its growth-oriented peers, finishing in the top 5% of them over the past 10 and 15 years. And it's been managed that entire time by Sonu Kalra. Sorry, Sonu, if I mispronounced your name. Sonu also has over $1 million of his money invested in this fund. And he's been there since 2009. So the entire 15-year track record you just saw is his. And as long as he's at the helm, I'd expect him to be able to keep putting up really solid performance. The one caveat is, well, the last 15 years have been a tremendous environment for growth. And the few times that growth hasn't done well, like 2016 and 2022, the fund hasn't done well either. But then again, this is the best pure growth fund, right? So if this is the category for you, presumably you think growth is going to remain in favor. And if it does, then I have a lot of confidence that this fund would be able to continue to thrive. When we look at the portfolio over the last 5 years, you can see on the left that it's been purely growth-oriented and never really deviated from that. These are factors, by the way. If you haven't seen them before, factors are like characteristics of investments that describe different aspects of their personalities, so to speak. And from a holdings perspective, it's highly concentrated in the big tech names that you all know and love, just like you presumably want it to be if you're looking for a fund like this. When answering the question of, can you do it again? I think I'd put it like this. As long as Kalra is there and growth is in favor, I think it's highly likely. Kalra is only in his mid-50s, so while I'm sure he's wealthy enough to retire anytime he wants, it wouldn't surprise me if he stayed on at least 5 more years, if not 10. On growth, well, I think AI is in a bubble, and this portfolio has a huge bet on AI, so no, I don't personally think growth will stay in favor forever, and if it doesn't, I think this fund could struggle. However, if you disagree with me, this is certainly an aggressive growth fund worth owning. Oh, and for the icing on the cake, you can now buy it as an ETF with the ticker symbol FBCG. Our third category is the next top star manager, meaning the fund managed by the person I think is most likely to be the next Will Danoff, and that's David Giraud with Rowe Price Capital Appreciation Equity ETF, TCAF. Obviously, I could have picked Colra and Fidelity Blue Chip Growth Fund for this one too, but it's how did you do it? That part that gives me a little hesitation on Fidelity. He's a high growth manager that has done well in an environment that strongly favored growth companies. The few times they've fallen out of favor, he hasn't done nearly as well. Giraud has shown more of an ability to thrive in different kinds of market environments. And since we don't know what the market environment will be like for the next 10 or 20 years, he's my pick here. Another key I'd want to watch out for when investing in any fund with a single star manager is that they're not about to retire. And while I don't know him personally, he's only around 50, so he's still in the prime of his career. He has a long and extremely strong track record, to the point where I think I can be confident that it wasn't just luck. And at least based on his age, he's less likely to be on the verge of retirement. He's been with Rowe Price, which I consider to be one of the best investment managers in the industry, by the way, for 27 years. He's head of investment strategy and CIO, but mostly he's made his name as the portfolio manager of Rowe Price Capital Appreciation. Since he started managing the fund in June 2006, almost 20 years ago, it's been just slightly behind the S&P 500. Now you're probably thinking, how is that impressive? And the answer is, the fund is only about 60% stocks. Here's what the bond market, represented by B and D in green, has done in that time. That's the sandbox he's been playing in with the other nearly half of his portfolio. Here's what he's done against the Morningstar category, which is made up of other similar funds. The percentile rank is 1 to 100, with 1 being the highest. I literally can't emphasize this enough. I have never seen a fund with this consistently strong of a track record, ever in my entire career. In fact, he literally set the all-time record by beating his Morningstar category 17 years in a row. Unfortunately, that streak was broken in 2025, just barely, but 17 out of 18 is still by far the best I've ever seen. Unfortunately, that fund is closed to new investors. But I have good news. Obviously, balanced funds are outside of the scope of this video anyway. I just wanted to show you why I'm so confident in David Giraud. Actually, this isn't just good news, it's great news. But before we get to that, could I ask you for a quick favor? As baffling as it is that there are funds out there that have been so incredible and yet no one else on YouTube is talking about them, it's equally baffling to me that 2/3 of you who watch this channel regularly somehow still haven't yet subscribed to it. So if you like this channel and you're getting value out of it and you want to support us, the free and easy way to do that would have a massive impact on our lives and cost you nothing is by simply hitting that subscribe button. My commitment to you is that if you do that, my partner Kyle and I will do everything in our power to help you drastically improve your life by becoming a better investor. Thank you so much. Now, if you just hit that subscribe button, that's great news for us. And now it's time to pay you back with some great news for you. Yes, the Rowe Price Capital Appreciation Mutual Fund is closed to new investors. However, in 2023, Rowe Price launched an all-equity version of it, and they did so in a more tax-efficient ETF wrapper. And that you can buy. Allow me to introduce TCAF, the Rowe Price Capital Appreciation ETF. From a style perspective, you can see it's more balanced, not quite as growth-oriented as Fidelity or the next two we'll cover. And for you, maybe that's a good thing or maybe it's a bad thing. There's really no right answer. You're getting a decent amount of exposure to the Mag 7, but just not as much as pure growth style funds. Performance has been kind of mediocre in the first 2 years, but I'm not terribly worried about it. Giraud is a contrarian investor. The peak of the market, when everything that's been heavily in favor for a long time is leading in the last legs of a rally, is not the kind of environment what I would expect him to do well. And that's when this ETF has trailed. He's also been leaning away from some of the hottest areas in the market, which is typically what he does, and those areas have kept ripping. If the market turned down and tech sold off, I'd expect this fund to beat most US equity funds. If it didn't do well in that environment, then I would be a little bit more concerned. So maybe the fact that it's a little more balanced takes it out of consideration if you're looking for a pure growth fund. But of course, this wasn't the winner in that category. It was the winner of the star manager most likely to be the next Will Danoff, and he was also a little bit more stylistically flexible. Next, we'll cover an easy one, the top passive growth ETF. This one is going to VUG, the Vanguard Growth Index ETF. At just 4 basis points, you can't get much cheaper. In fact, you can't get any cheaper in this category. You're getting ultra concentrated exposure to the most popular growth names, including over a third of the portfolio in the top 3 companies. I'm not personally a fan of that much concentration, especially in things that have led the market for a long time already. But if that's what you're looking for and you care about cost above all else, I think VUG is a good place to get it. And now, for our final category, the top active US growth ETF that's not reliant on a single manager. And for that, I'm going with CGGR, Capital Group Growth ETF. The main reason I chose this as the winner is that it uses the same system with multiple portfolio managers and analysts managing money that I talked about with Vanguard PrimeCap. Capital Group and PrimeCap are the 2 firms that use it, and it's worked beautifully. AmCap and Growth Fund of America are their 2 U.S. growth funds, which you can see have both dominated their indexes since 1967 and 1973, respectively. The index is the S&P 500, by the way. These results are as of the end of 2024, which was the most recent version of this document that they had, but those funds also both did well in 2025. Now, you get that same process in a U.S. growth-oriented, more tax-efficient ETF wrapper. 7 portfolio managers, and all 7 of them have at least $1 million of their own money invested there. And so far, its results have been consistently very solid. That's despite them not being quite as concentrated in the top names in the index. They still got plenty of Mag 7 exposure here, but we're not talking a third of the portfolio in 3 companies like we saw with Fidelity and Vanguard. And it's not even the same companies at the top either. We're talking a third in tech, which is still a lot, but it's not quite half or nearly half like a lot of more pure growth funds have. So you're getting growth, but just not the same growth as the index. If there's a change in market leadership at some point, which there regularly is every couple of years, I'd expect this to hold up better than a lot of the other growth funds in this category. So there you have it. To recap, our winner for the top broad U.S. equity fund was Vanguard PrimeCap. For top concentrated U.S. growth fund was Fidelity Blue Chip Growth ETF. Top star manager, Rowe Price Capital Appreciation ETF with David Giraud. Top passive U.S. growth fund, Vanguard Growth Index ETF. And the top active U.S. growth ETF that is not reliant on a single manager goes to Capital Group Growth ETF. Hopefully, we've helped you find the winner for what you are looking for. And if we did, hit that like button, leave a comment with what you'd like us to cover next, and subscribe so you won't miss it. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.